Spain, mid-16th century, around 1565 AD. The walled city of Villa lay shrouded in morning mist, its cobblestone streets glistening with dew. Within the austere convents perched atop the hills, the air was thick with incense and the quiet murmur of prayers. Life for the nuns was regimented, strict, and devout. Yet beneath the discipline and devotion, a hidden spiritual tension often simmered. The age was one of fervent faith, yet also of superstition and fear. A world where the veil between the natural and supernatural was felt keenly, even by the devout. Saint Teresa of Ávila, already renowned for her mystical experiences, navigated these corridors with measured grace, her rosary slipping silently through her fingers. Though small in stature, her presence radiated an intensity of purpose, a combination of faith and courage that seemed to illuminate the stone walls themselves. Teresa had spent decades in prayer, contemplation, and reform of the Carmelite order, her visions and ecstasies often leaving her exhausted, yet profoundly aware of the spiritual battles surrounding her. In recent weeks, unusual disturbances had unsettled the convent. Novices whispered of shadows that moved against the candlelight, the rustle of unseen robes in empty corridors, and low, unintelligible murmurs that seemed to slither through the stone halls. Many dismissed these events as imagination or nerves, yet Teresa, attuned to the subtleties of spiritual life, recognized the signs. Darkness, she knew, was at work, not metaphorically, but with a presence that sought to unsettle, frighten, and weaken the faithful. One morning, a novice appeared at her door, trembling so violently that her hands shook the beads from her fingers. Eyes wide with terror, she spoke of a figure that had appeared at her bedside, whispering blasphemous phrases and leaving a cold so unnatural it seemed to suck the warmth from the very room. Teresa listened intently, her own heart quickening, yet not with fear, but with resolve. She had faced spiritual trials before, and she knew that confronting such darkness demanded courage, ritual, and unwavering faith. Teresa moved to the chapel, kneeling before the altar as sunlight filtered through the stained glass. The smell of incense and beeswax filled her senses, yet she felt a weight pressing upon her soul. She reached for a small vial of holy water, glimmering faintly in the morning light. To the untrained eye, it was ordinary water, yet in her hands it carried centuries of sanctity, blessed by the Church, imbued with the prayers of countless faithful. Walking through the convent, Teresa murmured prayers, sprinkling holy water in the corridors and chambers. At first, the atmosphere seemed unchanged. Shadows lingered, whispers persisted. But then, imperceptibly, the air lightened. A subtle warmth returned, and with it, a sense of divine protection. She paused, reflecting on the mysterious power of the sacraments, ordinary objects infused with extraordinary spiritual potency. Engagement lines. If you were in Saint Teresa's shoes, walking alone through darkness armed only with faith, would you have dared to continue? Comment below and share your thoughts. And don't forget to like and follow for more stories like this. The confrontation reached its zenith in a small storage room seldom used by the nuns. As Teresa entered, a sudden gust extinguished the candles, plunging her into darkness. From the shadows emerged a shape, a being that seemed made of smoke and malice, twisting and writhing as if to test her courage. It whispered doubts, fears, and temptations directly into her mind, exploiting every hidden insecurity. Teresa's hand did not falter. She raised the vial of holy water and recited the litany of the saints, her voice steady despite the tremor in her heart. The water sparkled as she flicked droplets toward the shadow. A strange sound emerged. A hissing, a shriek, as if the darkness itself recoiled from the sanctity. The figure writhed violently before dissipating, leaving a silence so complete that even the faintest heartbeat seemed loud in comparison. Tears streamed down her face as relief washed over her. She had witnessed firsthand the potency of the sacred against the profane, the divine light piercing through the veil of darkness. In that moment, the convent itself seemed to exhale, releasing the tension that had gripped its walls. Yet the day was far from over. Word of the disturbance had spread among the sisters, and whispers of fear mingled with awe. Many came to Teresa, seeking guidance, reassurance, and prayers. She spoke to them not only of the immediate dangers, but of a deeper truth. The spiritual life is a battlefield, and fear itself can be a weapon of darkness. Faith, courage, and the sacraments, humble tools blessed with divine power, are the shields with which the soul can endure. The following days revealed more of the subtle workings of evil. Small acts of mischief, inexplicable noises, and fleeting shadows challenged the sisters' resolve. Teresa, however, maintained a disciplined routine of prayer, meditation, and the sprinkling of holy water, sometimes alone in the night. Sometimes with novices who sought to learn courage through proximity to her example. She emphasized that the power did not lie in her alone, but in the presence of God, invoked through faith and the proper observance of sacred rites. Could you have faced this fear like Saint Teresa did, armed only with faith and holy water? Share your thoughts in the comments. One evening, Teresa experienced a vision that deepened her understanding of what had transpired. In the quiet of her cell, as the moonlight cast long shadows across the stone floor, she saw angels moving gracefully among the convent walls, their forms shimmering with light. They hovered near the candles, guiding the prayers of the faithful and protecting the vulnerable from unseen forces. She realized that the holy water she had sprinkled was more than symbolic. It acted as a conduit, a tangible medium through which divine protection could manifest in the material world. Her thoughts drifted to the novices, who had been terrified by the unseen, and she contemplated the spiritual lessons embedded in these trials. Fear, she understood, was not inherently sinful, but allowing it to dominate the soul could open doors to spiritual harm. Courage, rooted in trust in God, was not the absence of fear, but the choice to act rightly despite it. Each drop of holy water, each prayer recited with conviction, became an act of spiritual warfare, and the results, though invisible to the world at large, were profoundly real. As the weeks passed, the convent gradually returned to a state of calm. Shadows no longer lingered with malicious intent. Whispers faded into silence, and the sisters felt a renewed sense of peace. Yet the experience left an indelible mark on Teresa. She understood, with greater clarity than ever, that the spiritual realm was alive and active, that demons could indeed exert influence in subtle and frightening ways, and that the sacred tools of the Church, prayers, sacraments, and holy water, were not mere symbols but powerful instruments of divine grace. If you experienced something unexplainable like the sisters did, how would it have affected your faith? Comment below and join the discussion. The moral and spiritual implications of that day extended far beyond the convent walls. Teresa later recounted the events in her writings, not to incite fear, but to instruct the faithful in vigilance, courage, and humility. She emphasized that battles against darkness are not fought with weapons of the world, but through devotion, prayer, and the steadfast application of sacred traditions. The story of that morning in Villa became a testament to the reality of spiritual warfare, demonstrating that even the simplest sacrament, wielded with faith, could turn the tide against forces that sought to harm the faithful. Throughout her life, Teresa continued to share these lessons, shaping the understanding of mysticism and spirituality for generations to come. Her encounter with demonic forces reinforced her deep belief in God's providence and the tangible power of the Church's sacraments. It served as a reminder that courage and faith are inseparable allies, that even in moments of darkness, the light of the divine is present, ready to intervene when called upon through sincere devotion. And so, the day Saint Teresa witnessed the power of holy water against demons remained etched in the memory of Tavin Villa and in the pages of Christian mysticism. It was a day that combined fear and awe, trial and triumph, darkness and divine light. It revealed not only the potency of faith, but also the profound responsibility carried by those who serve as intermediaries between the visible and invisible realms, guiding others through the shadows with courage, prayer, and unwavering trust in God. What do you think was the most powerful lesson Saint Teresa learned that day? Let us know in the comments, and make sure to like and follow for more historical stories like this. Through this narrative, the faithful are reminded that holiness is not abstract. It is tested in the crucible of trial. Saints like Teresa illuminate the path, showing that spiritual strength, courage, and trust in divine tools, however simple they may appear, can triumph over darkness. Her life and experiences remain an enduring beacon, a call to vigilance, faith, and the understanding that even the smallest gestures of devotion can carry immense power. As centuries passed, her story inspired countless believers. Convents and churches across Spain and beyond held to the memory of her encounter, teaching novices and lay people alike the value of discipline, prayer, and the sacred tools of the Church. The vial of holy water, the recited prayers, and the fearless trust in God became symbols not merely of ritual, but of tangible spiritual authority against the unseen. The day Saint Teresa saw the power of holy water against demons is remembered not just as an event, but as a lesson, a profound, cinematic testimony to the intersection of faith, courage, and divine intervention. It stands as a reminder that even when confronted with the inexplicable, the faithful may find strength in the simplest of sacraments, and that God's protection is ever present for those who call upon it with a sincere and steadfast heart. If this story inspired you or strengthened your faith, share your thoughts below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow for more captivating historical tales.